Hi everybody, this is Scott Aron from Success Made Simple, a program dedicated to bringing on authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, movers and shakers about how success is not made simple, but it takes simple decisions to create the success that we truly deserve. As always, I come to you each week on RVNTV at 1:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with amazing guests so they can share their stories of where they've come from to what they're doing now to inspire those around us. My guest today has had a very interesting journey in life, as always, as we all do. She is a two-time author, speaker, owner of Tantra Wisdom, amongst other things, psychotherapist, sex therapist, and just a very interesting person that deserves to have their story told so you can learn as well. So everyone, let me welcome you, Anita DeFrancesco.
Hello,
Anita,
Scott.
welcome
How
to the
are
show.
you?
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So, again, I appreciate you coming on today. And we were speaking a little bit before, and as I always like to do with my show, everyone sees the glory of where people are right now after the years of work that they put in. But I always like to go back so you can tell your story of maybe some of those impactful moments, so those light bulb moments or the aha moments that we talk about that led you to what you're doing right now. So can you recall at a certain point in your life one of those moments where you go back to it and you're like, you know, this is one of those rooted moments where it's really allowed me to step into the power that I'm living today?
Well, to say the least, I've had many awakenings, as I would call them, and they began as early as in the womb, but we'll skip that part. I'm going to go to when I was 9 years old. My one book talks all about that, how the womb was the first awakening, although I wasn't even in life yet. But I'll go back to when I was 9 years old. I was a very sick child. I had rheumatic heart disease, which was a very big disease at that time in the 1960s. And I was hospitalized for 6 months, and at that time, I was the only white person amongst African-American children. And it was a real time in our society that we hadn't come together as a whole yet, in the 1966 to be exact. And from then, I had to, because I was dying of a heart disease, rheumatic fever affects the heart and the joints, and most children die from that disease, but medicine has come to such a place that we're not even seeing that disease today. I was lucky to live, but the way I lived was I learned how to open my heart to my hospital mates because I needed love to heal, to survive. How do you heal without love? Love is a healing tool. It is a healing method that is very natural, and a lot of people don't understand how powerful love is. And so that was my healing tool. I didn't have a lot of love in my family. It was very dysfunctional. And when I went into this hospital, I was faced with a lot of, there was a lot of prejudice amongst us because I was the only white child, but I learned to love my hospital mates. And at some point we came together and we found love in each other and we healed. Some of us died, but I was one to live. And I take that moment as a real strong awakening. That was where my whole life began. It carved a path for where I am today in writing the books I'm writing, in going on the path of healing, Tantra Wisdom, moving to California, and learning about how I opened my heart and what that meant for the rest of my life, even though when I went home to see that my parents had so much dysfunction, they didn't know how to love each other, let alone love their children. But I got beyond that. And that is a big part of my success.
So, you said something interesting, even now and before when we were speaking, is that love. Love heals a lot, and the Beatles talked about love makes the world go round, and all of these things. Love has different meanings to different people, and there's some great books out there. We talked about the 5 love languages, all of those things. So what does love mean to you? And what is something that you now know about love that if someone could conceptualize that meaning, they can bring it into their life and possibly heal themselves from something that they're hurting from?
Well, I've learned that love is not just for a human being, to love a human being. You first must love life. And What I did was when I was in that hospital, I had to build a relationship with myself. So the first love was the love of myself.
Self-love.
Yes, but a lot of people think they understand what self-love is, and they really don't. The self-love is you really have to build that relationship. And at any age you can start, and this is what I teach people in therapy today, how to build a relationship to the inner child. But when I didn't have my parents coming to see me because they were in their own dysfunction, and I was in the middle of this hospital, I had nowhere to go because it was a state-funded hospital, and all of the kids were, you know, beating up on me because that's what was going on in the world with them, I just had to open my heart and build this relationship to love myself. And that was the only way that I saved myself. I became a young adult, but I had to take that little girl and save her. The little girl. And that is my saving grace today. I could never have a relationship with anyone because my relationship to myself was so strong. Of course, I love having relationships with people, and I have many. But I love the relationship I have with myself, and no one can get in the way of that. You see, no one. And this was a miracle. It was, you know, I became a young shaman or something at that point. The awakening was so profound that when I went back to school, I was really different to the children in the neighborhood, and I felt unique, and a lot of people looked at me different, but I was in my higher power by that point, and it was just like I felt like an angel. It was a miracle that just came to me, and I learned to love everyone. So I make love to life. I make love to life, and that is what Tantra is, and that is where Tantra wisdom comes from, learning how to make love to life. I could be sitting here right now with you, and I'm making love to this moment. Because I love life so much. And that is really what love is. And a lot of people get down on the bad times, and they let those moments take over them, and they become depressed, or they can't function, or they want nice things and they can't have nice things, or whatever it is. But the real truth and the real riches is to look at the moment you're in. And this moment that we're in is your success. So people think that success is being rich with money, but success is being what you have accomplished in your soul, in your spirit, right now in this very moment, to look at that. And that's where your success begins.
What do you feel with self-love? What have you found is most difficult for people to really love themselves? Because you hear about, you know, self-development and personal development is very big nowadays. It's something I practice every single day, daily affirmations and, you know, practicing mindfulness. Where do you find either the disconnect or the challenge that a lot of people have with really loving who they are?
Well, a lot of people want to be something they're not, and they don't accept themselves. They don't accept their surroundings. They may not like the neighborhood they grew up in, or the family, or the parents they have. Or maybe their friends have better lives, more toys, so to speak, you know, nicer cars. But the thing is, it's really about accepting, and it's very difficult to really accept the things in life, especially when you look at Facebook and everybody's doing everything and has everything, and you feel like, oh, where am I?
I have nothing.
Yes, right. And that's a real easy headset to go into, to shift into. But really, that there's a certain power within you that has to be harnessed to survive in this social media world we're in today, to be successful, to be successful in whatever it is, even if it's a small success, owning a store, or, you know, or just writing one book, whether it goes anywhere or not. You know, that's success because you've done something. You've honored yourself. You've loved yourself. I feel that acceptance has been, and resiliency. This is where your resiliency comes. Acceptance with your pain in your life, your physical pain, your mental pain, your emotional pain, the culture you grew up in. You may not like the culture you grew up in. You may not like there's so many things that I didn't like about when I grew up, but you know what? I embrace it because I am so happy to have the gift of life. And this is number one for success, I believe, to accept yourself and to really love. That's where your love will begin.
I love that, acceptance and resiliency, because it's so true. And I think right along with that is also practicing patience, because, you know, we're in this social media evolution right now where everyone sees the success that people are having, the cars, the houses, the money, all these things that externally you're looking at something that looks successful, but behind closed doors you don't know what kind of relationship they really have with their kids, with their spouse, with their family. You're just looking at the external. You don't know about the internal. And then there's this pattern of patience. You become so impatient, and I talk about this you know, on my podcast, and I actually spoke about it with my fiance, that when you do become so crystal clear with what you know you want, you can taste it, you can see it, you can feel it, patience starts to come up because you want it right now. And it goes in with self-love, with resiliency, with all of those things, awareness. You have to be not only those, but you do have to be patient with the process because it's not going to happen overnight. Right. It's a daily practice. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yes.
You didn't become just enlightened one day and then everything was changed. I use the analogy LeBron James, if you're familiar with him. He's a basketball star, and I always say to people, you know, LeBron James doesn't not practice anymore. He's probably the first one to practice and the last one to leave. He shows up early to games. He's always looking to improve, to get better. So along the lines of your enlightenment, when you had your aha moment at 9 years old, is that something that you still practice every single day? And what do you do for yourself to practice?
Well, I'll say that time, that 6-month period in my life where I was alone, I had to build a relationship to myself because I was very alone, but I became very disciplined. A discipline which now I'm involved in yoga and spiritual work, which even furthered that craving or that part of me that's been living in me for many years, that I became a master yoga teacher just because I have it. I had to go that route as well. But this discipline about really not being hard on yourself, I don't mean that. I don't mean being disciplined where you beat yourself up and you skip your meals. I don't mean that. You miss sleep. No, I love myself too much to miss meals or sleep.
Right.
Or anything else. But what I do is I am very disciplined. I don't let grass grow under my feet. I'm very in life that much. I'm not hard on myself, but I'm disciplined. And I have this resiliency that's in my cells that just says that this is what you need to do. You have to be disciplined. It's just such a part of me that I don't even know if I've ever trained myself to be that way. I think those 6 months there actually taught me that. Being away, almost like a reform school.
Yeah.
You know, because I had teachers come to my bed and teach me my mathematics and my reading and things like that in the 4th grade, where of course I had to repeat, you know, go to summer school because I was so sick I just couldn't learn, you know, then. But I built this discipline to myself, and I think that's key to success, discipline.
And it's interesting, for me and my fiance, she'll tell you the same thing. We both got out of long-term relationships that weren't failures by any means. They were lessons, and there was a lot taken away from it. And we were both alone as far as not in a committed relationship for the longest period of our lives. And it was the most growth that I personally did because I only had me to focus on. I was that person that was always looking to heal and better everyone else first without taking care of me. And that 6-month period that I had to myself to really just be with me, where there was no distractions, it was just me all the time. I did what I wanted to do, I took care of me, I healed me. It allowed me to be a better partner, but also a better human being for all those around me. So I really feel that's so important. And I feel this is a great place for us to take a break because I do want to talk about Tantra wisdom and everything else that you're doing with your books, your practices. So again, everyone, please hang tight. We'll be back shortly, and we're going to get into the goods with Anita DeFrancesco. After the break, we'll see you soon.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write, the ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVNTV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVNTV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Hey everybody, this is Scott Aron again from Success Made Simple. I'm here with the amazing Anita DeFrancesco, Tantra wisdom, sex therapist, psychotherapist, and all-around inspiring person. So, Anita, where we left off was obviously the story behind what you're doing now, and let's talk about your business, Tantra Wisdom, maybe a little bit about the books that you've written, and how the business came about, and what are you looking, or you know, who are you helping now into this next phase of your business?
Well, first let's define what Tantra is. Now, Tantra Wisdom is a name I made up, so that's my trademark name. But Tantra is a yoga. It's a yoga of the senses, invented by Vatayana in India way back before traditional yoga came out. And it kind of went by the wayside because of the sexual aspect of it, but that wasn't the intent. Tantra is not sex. Tantra is about love, it's about making love to the world, about learning how to open your heart and receive your partner, give and receive, and have that balance in a relationship. So naturally, if you have great love and intimacy, well, naturally, sex is going to be great. But sex is not generally great unless you have those other components, right? So the problem that the world thinks is Tantra is a big orgy and it's sex, and well, it's not, and that's not where it begins. That is really the end of it. That is the end all. And Tantra with a dedicated lover is about opening up and going deeper and further away from the surface of your traditional commercialized lovemaking, that as the relationship progresses and you're in this relationship for a long time and it gets a little stale, we'll say, or the children are always in the way with life and those moments are lost. So what happens is with Tantra, it teaches you how to appreciate and how to go back to the soft communication, the gentle touch, the honoring your partner, the honoring the goddess, the honoring the god. It's not a religion, it's just they're Hindu terms, goddess, god. Mm-hmm. But in this world, Tantra is becoming very popular because people really are after the heart, the opening of the heart. Like when I was 9 years old in the Children's Heart Hospital in Philadelphia and I was sick, I had to open my heart and reach out to my hospital mates so that I could get love to heal. And I realized that was my first Tantra lesson at 9 years old. No, I wasn't having sex, but it's not sex, but it makes your sex life and love life better. So what I'm teaching is couples how to be better at their love, to increase their stamina, to bring back their passion. If their passion has been lost, ignite the passion, so to speak, or save the relationship that could be on the fringe, they start to, become roommates rather than a dedicated couple. So these things do happen, and there are challenges, but Tantra, and with the psychotherapy counseling and the sex counseling, helps them to at least find out what love is. And even if their relationship doesn't last, at least they'll be ready for the real relationship in their life. But Tantra has been very successful in my business with couples that I have helped them save their marriage. I definitely will say that. And singles, it is also for singles who don't have a beloved. Well, why don't you have a beloved? Because you're not connected. Your eyes, you're walking around with foggy eyes.
Blinders on.
Yes, blinders, or what we call armor, where you're not connected to your sexual body. Not that we're promoting that, but you have to be connected and here for chemistry to form. So how do you get chemistry with someone? When you're 16 years old, you have chemistry for everyone.
Well, they call it the sexual energy. And,
right.
And there are people where you can feel their sexual energy, and then there's people that just have no sexual
numbness,
energy.
Frozen.
Yeah, like there's just
split. They're split in that energy. So this sexual energy is your most powerful healing energy of all, and it can heal disease. If you are open to this fullness of your sexual being, the orgasmic state of one's sexuality can become very full and connected. So even the orgasms become more out of the body. And a man can have a full body orgasm as a woman, or even multiple during sex. But you have to do the sexual exercise, not the sexual exercises, but the breathing exercises, the undulation, the movement, the touch, the communication. So there's a whole set of exercises, and then you find that beloved partner to be with. Or even if you are single, you may attract a beloved because now you have opened your heart. You have let go of some of the layers that are blocking.
the armor.
Yeah, that are blocking that, well, wait, I could fall in love. Hey,
Right.
well, all of a sudden, I could fall in love. Because people say they never meet anyone and they can't fall in love. So intimacy is a very big topic now in our world because people are losing that intimacy. It's more about less touch, more coldness, more, armor. So what we teach people is to really how to be fluid and open that heart and love everyone. And we do these exercises, we call them a puja in a circle, where we walk around to strangers. Like you have men on an inner circle and women on an outer circle, say, and you walk around and just walk up to someone and say, what I appreciate about you is, or what I really like about you, and you don't even know them, but there is something to like about everyone. And there is something to appreciate about everyone.
I agree.
That stranger that you are in a room with that day, rather than judge. So what we do is we teach people how to let go of self-judgment and judgment toward others. What we're really teaching people in Tantra, and my work is Tantra Wisdom, is how to get rid of hate, how to let go of hate, how not to be hate. Now we see so much hate in our world. And Tantra is so needed right now because the hate is just on the uprise. It really is. With all this political correctness, that is
Everything,
hate.
yeah.
That is hate.
It's poisonous.
Yes, and when you have this love, it's very difficult to go to that place because it's not something that people recognize or know how to handle. So what we teach them is how to be this, how to understand this, how to float in this, how to have this in your body. And it's a body thing. So the body is the pleasure. Then the mind opens, you become blissful. All of a sudden you're like, life is so great, even though I'm just sitting here doing nothing. Life
Right.
is so great.
Right. And it can be.
That's right.
So without mentioning names, share a story about maybe an individual or a couple that came to you that they came to you with their armor on, so to speak, and they were just foggy-eyed and just blinded and just checked out, so to speak, from just everything. And maybe what was something you did with them, and what was the result after working with you?
I have a lot of people that come to me where they might be in a relationship, a long-term marriage or whatever, and they find that they're not able to make proper love anymore, or that one of the partners checked out. And then when they decide to move on into another relationship, they have challenges. They have anxiety, they have fear, they have lost that intimacy, or they turn to pornography, for example, and that becomes an addiction to the mind. And so when you start to become really addicted, if you overdo pornography, you can lose the senses here. So what I teach people is, or couples that lose that passion, but they still have the love for each other, they have their children, they want to stay together forever, but they just don't have the sexual connection anymore. Because what happens is they're surfacing, one of them is surfacing or both, from things in their childhood that need to be removed out of the body. So they need to do the work. That's key. The work must be done. And work involves, I do an emotional breathing, orgone energy breathing to start with people, where they breathe in and out the mouth and do some bioenergetic exercises.
And this is something that people can do at home.
They can do it at home, but they really need to be witnessed and coached from someone that's professional, at least to start anyway, to learn it. What I instruct people to do is through different bioenergetic exercises as developed by Dr. Alexander Lowen back in the day, whom I personally studied with, and he only died maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. He was 99 or something.
Wow.
And Dr. Wilhelm Reich developed this breathing, the orgone energy, where you bring your split together. So if you're a chest breather, that means you may have had fear as a child. Mom came in and she was scared, or dad was drunk, or whatever, and so then you're going to be cut here sexually, and you may not have this connection in a bonding way to someone. So it really starts with the eyes. This is your first segment that we work, and it goes all the way down. So my goal is to bring the lower breath and the upper breath, stomach and chest together, and I teach them how to So one exercise people can practice is just to place your hands here. Now this breath is like, almost like if you were taking a drag of a cigarette, if you've ever done that. You breathe in like a big drag of a cigarette, so to speak, and out. It is not a nose breathing, and the gut falls out on the inhale. And once the gut falls out, it starts to expand, and it starts to open up these cells in here. And then I'm bending and straightening my spine as I do this, flexing and extending, so that now that my body is starting to recreate. So the goal of this is like a suture. We're opening it up and then we close it back. But I give them so much more work beside that. That's one exercise. Another exercise is just moving your pelvis with a little bit of undulation like this to bring back the feeling. The feeling has to come from the heart though. And that's how the feeling gets in your body. If there isn't any feeling, you're numb. And generally it is around the heart. Because people don't understand. A lot of people are vulnerable and they want to protect their hearts, or they don't understand, or they become overgiving with an open heart, and then all of a sudden they're being taken advantage of. So we teach people how to have healthy boundaries, and we teach couples how to give and receive, because there's always one in the relationship that generally is more of a giver. And then these are the kind of couples that have to meet. You know, I love my wife, but I'm constantly given to her in every single solitary way, from sexual to everything, and I don't receive back. I said, why? Are you not worthy to receive? On some level, you feel unworthy. And that's where I start my work.
That's awesome. That's great. So as we come to a close, if you could, one, tell people about your 2 books, just a short 30-second blurb about each one, where they can find them, and most importantly, how can people get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, I have 2 books here, and the first book, Scott, is this one I've written about 8 years ago, Live Free. It just talks about my journey and how I came to be this, you know, my awakenings. Every single awakening is in here, and how I learned to live free. And I know that sounds silly, living free, because we're really not free in this country. I'm free, though, in my mind. That's where you want to be free, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. And that freedom is priceless if you understand that part of yourself, that relationship to self. This one. So this is called Live Free, Recreate and Liberate Your Life. And TantraWisdom.com is my website. Tantra Wisdom, I have a group page on Facebook that's a public page that anyone can join and check out some of the different posts that are in there. I also teach workshops in Philadelphia and on the West Coast as well. Right now I'm teaching in Philadelphia. So you can go to my meetup, meetup.com, Tantra Wisdom, and check out any workshops there. This book I just wrote is about a cousin of mine, a first cousin, named Donna Gentilly. It's Donna Gentilly's story. It's a true crime, my first true crime book. And she was a prostitute back in 1985 in San Diego, and she was murdered. And she had gotten 2 policemen fired. And it turned into a big high-profile case at that time. And it's still high-profile now. So I decided to write a story about her because it's been in me for a long time to bring the story out. And I just had my first interview on CBS last week, San Diego, because they'd been interviewing our family for years, because this is, even though it's a homicide and a cold case, it was high profile, because a girl who carved a path, she was a trailblazer for the Me Too movement that we're in today, got sexually harassed by a policeman, and then she got these 2 policemen fired. One was a lieutenant. Turned into a really big thing.
Wow.
And the Donna Gentilly story on Facebook group, and I also have a website for her, the Donna Gentilly story. These books are both available on Kindle and Amazon, paperback and ebook. But this is my latest, so this was just released about a week ago. And it's really a story about a girl who was fighting, a young girl who was fighting and ran away from home because she had challenges in the home life, and how she carved a path and was sexually harassed by policemen. And, you know, the least to say, prostitution and police, they go together. There's a lot of controversy around that. So that topic is clearly stating who she was and why she became an NHI. So NHI on here means no humans involved. Artists came together, female artists came together a couple of years after her murder. She was found with rocks stuffed in her mouth because she talked in court. And it was like, you're a snitch.
Right.
Because she got these policemen fired. But who did that in 1985? That's
Right.
like really, whew, now everybody gets cops fired and things. Not that she wanted to get a cop fired.
Right.
But the NHI, the artists came together and made that billboard and faced it towards San Diego Police Department. Like, in other words, NHI, no humans involved. Because she was a prostitute, her life didn't matter. Because she was a prostitute, she deserved what she got. And when it's no humans involved, it's like saying she wasn't a human being, but she was a human being. And that's why I'm clearly stating who she was in this book. And that's why I wrote it.
Well, that's great. Well, everyone should definitely check those out. And finally, as we close, and this is a question that I ask every guest, and there is no wrong answer. Anita, what does success mean to you?
Success. Well, success to me is, again, you know, first coming back to love. And acceptance. It really boils down to, you know, your energy, what you're doing for yourself. It's not what anyone else is doing for you. It's what you're doing for yourself and how much belief that you have. And if you have this belief and you want to do things, just do them.
Yeah.
I still remember years back, before I moved to California, I met this man and he said to me, remember that Nike statement, just do it? Remember that Nike statement? And I couldn't move. I couldn't move to California. And then he just said, just do it. And I thought, this is my success. Just do it.
I love that. Anita, thank you so much for being here today, and taking the time out and sharing your gift and everything. So, guys, as you can clearly see, as always, success means different things to different people. And, you know, today, obviously, loving oneself, loving your path, loving who you are and everything that you stand for is the first type of love that you should have before you let any kind of else love in, and being able to love everyone else around you. So everyone, please join me again every Wednesday, 1:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on RVNTV. This is Aron from Success Made Simple, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.